for those of you who don't know, GZA from the Wu-Tang Clan is a big science enthusiast.
Huge.
He's really into science, particularly like cutting edge technology, quantum physics kind of science. And so we developed a show with him where he goes to like
Scientists
and labs. He goes to like the Big Hadron Collider or whatever.
Yeah.
Collider, yeah.
And then you hear his voiceover narrating something, and then you're inside his head in his imagination. So for like 6 weeks, we had a big giant black box studio, and we had to recreate like GZA's imagination with like live animals, like
hot glue guns,
monofilament.
so many kinds of tape. There were many kinds of tape, like projection.
The best tape.
Yeah, only the best tape. We built a lake inside the studio that was the shittiest lake ever built.
Wait, you built a lake?
Yeah,
How
no.
did you build a lake?
How don't you build a lake?
You found this like it was like if a natural disaster happened, like someone spilled toxic waste somewhere, it's like a containment pond.
Yeah.
And that's what you found.
It was a 40 by 30, I think.
Yeah,
40
by
foot by 30
by
foot.
like a foot or two.
Yeah, it was like 24 inches deep.
Wow.
And and it had a few holes in it.
Yeah.
And we had like we built it had like a way of building up the edges, but then the rest we were like, we're gonna need more sandbags.
Yeah,
it was like
sandbags.
I was like, how many sandbags do we have? They were like, I don't know, like 50 or so. And I was like, we're gonna need. So we had like 50 million sandbags holding it up because it kept springing leaks. And so we built the thing, and I was like, how do we fill the thing? Like, where do we get all this water? So I had to like make friends with the fire department to come and unlock the fire hydrant, and fire hoses like all connected to each other came into the building, and we filled it up
Yeah.
for one shot.
Me and Martine, if you remember from episode 2, filled up the tank.
Yeah.
With the fire hoses from the fire hydrant that was next to the garbage truck facility.
I was like, I can't talk, building a robot. Have fun, guys.
The best part about it was as we're filling it, because they're bringing the trucks back because their shift's over, they're running over the hose. So every time they run over the hose, it's like... So like we didn't know what to fucking do, and like me and Martine were just holding the hose, filling this pool.
Because you can't let the hose go.
Can't
The
let
pressure
it's a
would
fire fucking hose. It just fucking goes everywhere. So we like didn't know what to do. So we're holding the hose, and then we realized, we're kind of lazy. After about 10 minutes, we're like, this is fucking boring. We need to come up with a rig to hold this hose.
and then you made a shitty rig.
So we
to
made a
hold
shitty rig. It's like a muscle cart, and then he started clamping shit, and then we got everything. We put more sandbags. We filled it up, and that's when the problem started happening because we just forgot about it. We were like, good to go. And we walked away, and then all of a sudden the sidewalls of the pool start like bending.
Yep.
And then you're like, we need sandbags.
And I was like, we're going to
like
need a lot.
I'll give you like 2, and you're like, we need a lot of sandbags.
It was my idea. It was my stupid fucking idea. I was like, can we do this? If we did this digitally, like, I love practical effects. If I can make I can make it practical, I'll make it practical.
Yeah.
So we needed an old man sitting in a boat in a black lake. I was like, we could do that in post, or
Could build it here.
we could build it here in this studio. We also like lit a tree on fire. Like,
How do we drain that pool?
Yeah, that's my next question. How'd you get the water out?
Did we pump it out?
I don't know.
we
did.
We pumped it out.
There was a sump
That's
pump.
right. I remember
There was
this
a
now.
sump pump.
We had one pump, and we put
One.
it in,
And it
we
kept
started
breaking.
pumping, and then we were like, we need more pumps.
Yeah. It was a lot of water.
Take to pump that out.
It took
Oh
a
my
whole
God.
day. Almost.
Yeah. It was like was it our off day?
This is our off
It's still
day.
pumping.
It's still, it's still pumping now. It was like a sump pump. It was like this big. It was like, and then it would break, and we'd be like, fuck. Because we had all of the rest of our set in there, like the whole art. It was all art department. It was like we built
all
giant
art
shelves,
department.
so we couldn't just like let it drain into the floor drain because it was like we got shit in there. We couldn't do it. That was also the shoot where we got that was the shoot where we fell in love with low fog, with cold fog.
Obsessed with low fog forever. After
I was
that
like,
shoot.
Mike, for this shot. I want it to look like, the fog on the ground, like the really cold fog, like, and then people walk through it like they're floating. And they delivered these giant ass tanks, and Mike was like, low fog, whatever. And then it's the first time we got it to work, we filled the whole warehouse with like low fog. And it
Yeah.
looked amazing. And Mike was like,
It's a bitch to make it work.
yeah, it
It's
really
a
sucks.
pain in the ass to get it to like do what you want it to do. Because if the temperature in the studio is wrong, it's just gonna rise.
Yeah.
It has to be like ice cold in the studio, and then your fog has to be cold, and then your CO2 has to be like the correct amount into the fog.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. And it's also like we're all breathing CO2. We should have had masks. Like there was no ventilation. This was like it wasn't a fancy studio.
The studio was next to a Superfund site that was being taken down.
And on the other side of the Superfund site, on the other side of the studio was the Brooklyn garbage truck depot.
Yeah.
So like every night all the garbage trucks would come home.
Oh wow.
It smelled really good there.
Garbage, Superfund, our studio.
And that's what happens when you get the big bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to know about this tree lighting. You lit a tree on fire?
Yeah, we had to light a tree on fire. So for anything with fire or guns or any like effects like that,
Safety expert.
I'm gonna plug one company, The Specialists. They're the best.
The specialist?
Specialists. They're fucking fantastic. When you go to doing art department is fun sometimes because you get to go to these like weird places and weird props and like weird people.
Yeah.
Whether you're like renting a convertible pink Cadillac for a drag queen music video, and you meet the weirdo who owns all the weird cars, or you need a gun, a realistic gun. Did you work on the shoot with the War and Peace?
No.
With the gun, like I had to get all these
Period
guns,
Yeah.
period guns, and like a cannon and shit. And it was the first time I'd ever had to do that. So I was like, well, what do I call? Somebody suggested The Specialist. I was like, okay. So I go out to The Specialists, and they have literally, it looks like in like a James Bond movie when James Bond goes into whatever the gearhead guy's name is, and he gives him like his watch that explodes and the gun that, whatever, and the car he's going to drive and all his weapons. It's like going there.
That would
It's
be
like,
Q.
Q, thank you, Alan. The weird Bond gearhead guy.
The only smart one in the movie.
Yeah. Ben Whishaw. Yeah, I don't know why I remember the actor's name, but I don't remember the character. Anyway, you walk into The Specialist, and there's literally like a vault of every weapon ever made going up the wall, and like it's just crazy. It's just weird.
They're based here.
Yeah. They're armorers, and they do special effects. They blow up things. Cool. And they have a blast. They have the best job. They love their jobs. They get to like do blowing up car stunts and like
Fuck yeah.
yeah. So I called The Specialist, and I was like, I need to burn a tree inside in a studio. I need to like light a tree on fire and make it explode. And they were like, what time? I was like, oh, call time's 2 p.m. Cool. They were like, I'll be there. They were like, clear the perimeter. They just come in and take care of it. But it was hilarious because it was like a macro shot. So the tree was only like this big. Yeah. It was like that big. It wasn't like a giant tree inside the studio. The fire was huge.
Yeah, fire was way bigger.
Because-
it was like
because-
they were ready to burn down an oak tree.
Yeah, they took it to a whole new level because it was like it was a phantom shot. It was like super, super slow-mo, and it was just like slow little sparks coming out. But I mean, in real life, it was like, we were like, Jesus Christ.
Did they have like a bunch of, I guess, like fire extinguishers and stuff on the side? Like, what'd they do?
Oh yeah, all the
We
safety.
had the pool, dude.
Yeah.
Just chuck it in
pool
the
was
pool.
still draining. The man in the boat in the middle of the pool.
Use a door.
No, they had all the safety. That's why you hire them. Because
the specialists.
they're the specialists. Nothing was wrong. But as far as what they did, I can't reveal the secrets of the specialists. You can't do that. They know. They know what they do.
Rig. Can't do a shitty rig with fire.
They're amazing. It's really fun.
Yeah, don't do a shitty rig with fire.
Yeah.
Try to avoid
Or
that.
electricity.
Yeah, don't
Or
do
electricity.
it.
Because it'll
Yeah.
cause a fire.
Well, I've done much of this.
Don't do it.
The scariest one was the pendulum, the giant pendulum. It was like a shot about GZA was kind of thinking about time and wormholes and multiple universes and stuff like that, and so it was like a metaphor for time. The whole studio was like the inside of a clock, and the pendulum disc was 5 feet in diameter. So then I was like, and then it needs to swing. It needs to swing all the way and then all the way back. And we're going to shoot it in slow motion. We had this beautiful dancer and these crazy, beautiful fabrics and low fog. And so she comes through the shot like swirling as the pendulum is swinging past her. It's totally, and I was like in my brain and I'm like interpretive dancing, describing what I want. And Mike's just going,
Give me a cardellini.
Mike's like, I know. Mike knows what I'm talking about. I'm like, Mike, I have an idea, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna need like 15 speed rails. Like, how many speed rails? You guys did it with speed rails, right? Yeah.
Speed rail. What was it made out of? I can't remember.
The disc?
The pendulum. Yeah.
The disc was wood. I CNC machine
That's
cut
what
it.
was. Yeah, it was heavy as fuck.
It was heavy, but it could have been heavier.
Yeah, it was like
Because it was
the disc speed rail up to another thing, and then it's just like essentially. I forgot how I think it was rope.
You had two cherry pickers.
Yeah.
And Martine was losing his fucking shit because Martine was key grip and he takes his job very seriously as like the king of safety. And like
This was not king of safety moment.
there was a lot of yelling going on. Martine was like, clear the perimeter. And then you guys attached at the top, but it weighed like 1 billion pounds and it would swing when it would have killed you.
Essentially, like, she's like, weighed like maybe 50 pounds the disc or 75 pounds. As you get it up to the
It didn't weigh that
with
much.
the pipe.
With the
and
pipe,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, with the ceiling was fucking high there. It
Yeah.
was like 18-foot ceilings. Jesus. So we're coming down with speed rail to her disc, and then it's going up. As you're bringing it up, you're realizing it's like getting heavier as it's going up, and then you're just like, let it go.
Oh my god.
Like it could have killed a lot of people. Because it was like this close to the ground. That was the best part. Is it was like that when it would swing down.
Definitely didn't need to be that close.
It looked like, but it did because it cut through the low fog. It was like, and the low fog would go, and then the dancer came through, and it was so amazing. It was so beautiful because it had to be. I had to like trompe l'oeil paint it to look like it was catching like a reflection because it couldn't be metal because it couldn't catch a real reflection because that would be annoying. To the gaffers of the world and everyone. So it had to be like non-reflective but look like it was polished brass. Like it had to be like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
That's fine.
It was really, really cool. And then it took so long to get set up and it was stressing everybody out so much because we were like, we're going to die. If this falls and someone's in the way, they will die. Like it was crazy. And we finally had the shot set up and the dancer, Tara, was like rehearsing. And I was like, if she like steps to the left, we had to lens it right because if she stepped too close to it, she would get taken out and like cut in half. And that would have been bad. So
I mean, there were safety measures to stop it, but how fast we could stop it?
yeah, no. And we were like, it's gonna work. But then we got the shot all set up, and everyone was so stressed out, especially the director. The director was losing it that day. He was just like so stressed out, and he was like, everybody needs to pay attention to me. Like we got to do this. We got to do this. And love you, Adrienne. You're the best. And then I brought a sound system with a record player because we like lived there. So I brought a bunch of records in and whatever. We had this big, huge sound system that we would play while we were working. And so it was all quiet on set. And like Adrian called action. And then as soon the dancer came in and there was this wind machine. Remember the wind machine?
Yeah, that's what I was operating. Yeah.
Mike was operating the biggest wind machine. It was like an airplane engine. It was like
an 8-foot fan.
it was huge because we had to have her costume trail like 10 feet. We had to have like, it was like Alexander McQueen fashion show. Like the trail of the fabric had to go way, way out. And it was as soon like he said action and Tara stepped forward and the wind machine went and I hit play on and I will always love you and Whitney Houston and everybody lost their shit, including Tara, except Adrian. He got really mad. The director got really, really mad, but it was so funny. Guys, it was funny.
Every day on that shoot, I would just be like, I have no fucking clue what's going to happen. And a truck would show up, and I'd be like, what's in this truck? And then all of a sudden, it'd just be like, waterfall. And you're like, okay.
Oh,
right.
the waterfall.
It's literally Corey coming to the back of the car and saying, all right, Mike, I have an idea. Like, it just
New shit showing up every day. And then Corey would, like the fan, she showed up with this fan. I'm like, she's like, I need to plug in a fan. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, sure, like anywhere. And then I see the fan. I'm like, oh fuck, this is not a fan, dude. This requires 3-phase power. We don't have any of this
I was
shit.
like, I should have said I need to tie in a fan.
She's like, where do I plug these in? I'm like, oh my god, no.
Stage pins. Yeah. Sorry.
Like, Mike, hear me out.
And then one day off the truck came an ostrich. Remember the ostrich? We had a giant ostrich.
Angry.
A very angry ostrich. And those motherfuckers are dinosaurs. It's
just like
insane.
trying to hold it back with the cage things.
Yeah, it was like.
Wait, what?
Well, there was a shot about. There was something.
Like, you're gonna bypass the fact that there's an ostrich on set? Like, how'd you get an ostrich on?
It was really funny too, because like, it's an ostrich farm. People, have you ever eaten ostrich?
No.
It's fucking delicious. It's lean. Oh, I sound like Princess Bride. When the mutton's nice and lean. When the ostrich is nice and lean. No, it's delicious. Anyway, it's an ostrich farm. So the shot was about like the show was about evolution or something. You know, dinosaurs, birds. And so we had to get all these shots of ostrich feet and like feathers and how they walk and dinosaurs. And the truck comes and the ostrich comes in. That thing was fucking 10 feet tall.
So big.
It was so much bigger than I could have possibly imagined, and it had a hood on it. And the farmer came in and he was like, "You're gonna wanna not move, talk, don't make eye contact." It was like it was a raptor. Like, don't move. And we were all like, "Oh my god, can we take a picture?"
It's
Like,
just this massive
Scene of no.
bird ready to
Yeah.
crush you with a hood on its head.
no spoilers.
Everyone's trying to get like a selfie with it.
Everyone was like so excited, and the farmer was like, "You don't understand. Everything you know and love will be destroyed if you agitate this bird." And we were like, "Okay." Took the hood off. It's just like everything else. It's just like the art department. We had like 15 seconds before it all fell apart. Yeah. It was crazy. And we had a horse named Spaghetti. And then the waterfall was the coolest. The waterfall, I was like, I want to project video onto falling water for this shot. And I called all these places and I was like, here's what I want to do. And they were like, can't help you. Like, what are you talking about? And then finally we figured out how to get like enough bubbles, like how to like force air into the mixture so it looked white when it would come down. And then we were projecting on it, and then somebody walks through it. It's really cool.
I thought you were gonna say the ostrich walks.
And then the
through.
ostrich walks through it.
Then there goes the ostrich.
Corey
comes
rides
Oh.
the ostrich through the waterfall.
Glue gun. I'm shooting glue guns.
through. Well, how did you do the waterfall thing?
It was this company that does them for like, like buildings who want like a water feature, or like a living plant wall with like water.
Mm-hmm.
People want like something nice. So it's like permanent stuff. They like do like just events and things, And I called them and I was like, I got this crazy idea, guys. And like I'm just nuts. I had to get like such a high powered projector to do it too, because we had to be far enough away to do it. Like it was.
Once again, I need to plug in a projector.
I'm always doing something with a projector.
What was the shot with the ostrich?
That was just like close up shots of feet and the
the
ostrich
feet.
feet, just like, and then like animation of dinosaur feet. It just like all tied together with evolution.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah. But we did that pendulum shot with 2 kids in the foreground too. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
2 kids? You had someone agree to put their child in front of a
Jennifer Brogel.
50-pound pendulum swinging past
Ia
them?
Nima started
You
6th
think
grade.
that's the worst thing I've done with kids? No.
Oh my god.
There's many stories. for
Kids are the
another day.
best.
Wow.
That was the shoot too where
That's when you realize, man, parenting is very different for some people.
yeah.
Yeah, they're very lackadaisical.
Yeah, I'd like absolutely not.
Yeah. It was intense.
Yeah.
That was the time that that was a shoot that the whole series there was supposed to be this magical object that was like a kid was supposed to hold this magical object, which was supposed to be like a quantum object, like representing like the future of quantum technology and blah blah blah. And I was like, what the fuck does that look like? And I was like, I don't fucking know. And so I found this 3D printer and we like designed this thing and it was supposed to represent all these things and it took like a couple weeks to like design something super, super cool. And the day came up for that shoot and it was like, we don't have it. It got lost in the mail. The magical object that was designed to represent the future of quantum technology is lost in the, like the postal service fucked up. And I was like, what do we do? And Adrian was like, we got to do something. And I was like, looking around, and like way in the back of the studio there was like an old HVAC system that had gotten torn out but not tossed yet. So I went over and I like sawzalled the like the top off of it and like reached inside and pulled out like a condenser of some sort, like something. I don't know what it was. It had like a million layers. It was
A filter?
it was metal. It might have been a filter, but it was like square and it had like a million layers. It was really weird. I pulled that out and I was like,
Transformer.
yeah, it was like Transformer. I was like, And then I went over to my bench and got some LED like fairy lights and twisted them all inside and turned it on and was like, there it is. the future of quantum tech. What do you think? And Adrian was like, it's beautiful. Wow. I was like, yeah, totally super high tech. You don't turn it off yourself. Like you need someone
Took a lot of time
trained.
to make that.
And the
happen.
shot is like this little kid holding it up going like, whoa. And it actually looks really fucking cool, but it's literally like air conditioner guts and some fairy lights like made at the very last minute. I totally forgot about that.